Hi everybody, it's Marcus from PageProof here to go through another PageProof Academy, this time going through a Q2 recap. Now, as you know, with PageProof, we release a lot of new features every day. And what we're doing here is actually going through and taking a look at all the significant product updates that we've done, and we'll go through and do a little bit of a skim into each one so you get a good sense of what we've released and what's available to you to take advantage of inside of PageProof. So during this time, we have released a lot of features, and they go from, PageProof Intelligence, where we've spent a whole lot of time working on the intelligence features of PageProof, which, we'll go to as we go through this, reviewing enhancements, integration enhancements, and then there's a whole lot of small enhancements, which I'm going to go through, and we're just going to name drop them. So you can look out for them. If they really mean something to you, you'll know exactly where they are, and they are available in the platform. So that's what we're going to cover off today. Now, we've got a lot to get through. So rather than me sit and talk for too much longer about the introduction side of things, let's get in and get started with the first of the features that we want to look at. Okay, so first thing, web proofing, improvements to web proofing. So, there is a situation where you want to create a collection and you would love to put a whole lot of URLs, web proofs inside the collection. And right now, or previously, you had to go in, drop in a web URL, create the proof, go to the collection, make another one, make another one, make another one, which was, very time consuming. So we've now made it so you can create multiple web proofs at once by simply coming in to start a web proof, and then you can drop in multiple URLs. So you can just keep on typing in URLs, and then when you go next, it'll be in a collection for you. You can also paste into the first one a comma-separated list of URLs, and it will expand those out for you and create a collection of all of the URLs, which is really useful if you are working on things like social media and you want, got a whole lot of posts that you want to put into web proofing. You can paste those all into here and get started. So that's the first enhancement for web proofing, is being able to add multiple URLs at once. And that makes you a collection. Now, we've also, when you do create a web proof, we've also grabbed the proof name. So this proof name that you see here, now previously, this would put the URL in here, which, sometimes our URLs are not that clean. So what we've done is we've grabbed the page title from your web page, and we put the page title in as the proof name, which, as you can see in this one, I've put in the Apple URL, and it's just popped in here, proof name Apple, because that is the page title that Apple has put on their website. So much, much cleaner, and makes the navigation of those web proofs far, far better once you get into looking at them. So those are all the changes we've made for the website proofing. Now, one more thing we've done is released some new Chrome extension, the Chrome and Firefox extension and Safari extensions for our web proofing. Those have been updated just to reduce the number of times that the cookie pop-ups pop up, and when you say, okay, it'll actually remember that setting. So it's a work in progress. There's a whole lot of different ways people do cookies, but we've covered a whole lot more of those for you, which makes things a whole lot better. So that is the website proofing changes. Okay, the next piece that we'll jump into, enterprise user management. So this is for the PageProof enterprise customers. Typically, when you're doing enterprise user management, you want to be able to set all the settings for a user. And, you can do things like auto provisioning. We have a skim interface that you can set up. If you are an enterprise person, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. So you can auto provision things, but then when it gets into PageProof, you want to be able to go in and set settings for a particular user and control that from an admin console. So what we've done is added enterprise user management into PageProof. And what that looks like is essentially you can go in and you can edit the profile of an individual user. And then you've got the ability to do things like change the avatar and the name. You can go in and set permissions. So if this person is going to be a team admin, you can actually go down now into the granular permissions and say, this person's a team admin, but they can only do this. These are really important things for enterprise customers. For example, you can go in and give people access to proofs as an admin, but not the settings screen and not the template screen. So you can have control over that. Notifications, again, you can go in as an admin and you can set all of the email notifications for somebody. So you can go through and set up all of those, which there are a number here, but the great thing about it is you can set it up exactly the way that you want it for your users. And then the last one over here is setting up things like due dates and the default message to reviewers and those sort of things. So again, you've got full control over each of your users in your team as an enterprise team admin. You're able to go in and set all of these settings per user, which is a really, really great feature for our enterprise customers. So that's the enterprise user management side of things. Okay, so the next area, let's jump in and take a look at template management. So previously, we've had a lot of feedback about the workflow template screen and, it'd be great if we can see a list view and we can do this and we can manage that and what sort of thing. So we listened to you and said, that is probably the oldest part of PageProof. It hasn't had modifications in a long time. So we thought, you know what? Let's give the people what they want. And so the workflow template management area has been improved dramatically. And you'll see here from the screenshot, you've got the ability now to look at your workflow templates in a list view, which is far, far better for looking at template lists and things. And we're giving you more information on the screen, so you're not having to click in and click out of each one. You can see the number of steps, how many times it's been used, who created it, whether it's shared and favorited, and all those sorts of things. And you'll also notice that we have added in a description here. So you can now put a description on the template. And this goes across other areas of templating inside of PageProof as well. And the great thing about this is that when you use this template inside the proof setup screen, it's going to give you a pop-out showing that description. So those that are using your templates get a better sense of what this template is actually for. So this is the new area. You can see we've got this list view, and you've got the ability here to add a description. And that's not only in workflow templates, it's in other template areas of PageProof as well. The description is available and it's there for you to use, and it shows up when in the setup screens when you use that. So also to note here, the ability to download these features have been available in the workflow templates area, but they're now more prominent, downloading the list of all of your templates, and then obviously being able to duplicate them, delete them, and manage them all inside of here is now inside of the workflow template area in the team admin. So there you go. Template management has been dramatically improved for all of your team admins. Okay, next area, let's jump in. Smart Compare. Now, if you have used Smart Compare, it's a fantastic feature. It's one of my favorite features of PageProof, I have to admit. And what we've done is we've looked at it and said, well, what are some of the things people would love to see enhanced about Smart Compare? And one of the first things that we heard was, hey, sometimes the proof that I'm comparing it to has a slightly different dimension than the proof I started with. And I still want to do a comparison. So we looked at that and we said, that's a really great idea. So, and a good example of that would be when it comes to adding print marks to a final proof. So in this scenario, you may be working on a piece of work, you're creating proofs and they don't have any crop marks or bleed or anything on them. And then we get to the final one, and that one you've added crop marks and bleed and things too. So now it's on a larger page size, but you still want to do a compare. So now PageProof has the ability to do Smart Compare on different page sizes. Okay, so when you click on Smart Compare, if they are dimensionally different, you'll get this pop-up, and you've got the ability here to choose where you would like the centering or the origin to be between the two pages. So for example, most of them are going to be centered, so it's going to align them by the center, and then you'll be able to see the things that are different on the pages. And this icon that you see here, that will remain on the bottom right-hand side of the Smart Compare screen, so you can change exactly where it is. And what we'll do is we'll take a look at this, because there's no better way to actually demonstrate it than to demonstrate it. So let's jump in and take a look at what the Smart Compare looks like. Okay, So here I am looking at a proof, and you can see it's got bleed and crop marks and color bars and things on it. Now, if I click onto the Smart Compare, it's going to put the two side by side. So you can see this version has all of these color bars and things, and this version does not. So when I go Smart Compare, it's going to overlay the two, and you'll see it's flashing the differences up here because these areas are outside. And if you look over on the bottom corner here, the anchoring position is now in center. So if I change this just to make it look, so you can see the extremes. If I say, look, why don't you anchor it by top right? Now you'll see they're out of alignment, and you can see how the Smart Compare works there. So this just shows you, if we put it into center, now it's going to center them. The pieces that are going to change are the bits around the outside. And actually, if I change the color of this, you'll see it a bit more in an extreme. So you can see these are the areas that are changing inside of that proof. Comment labels. So this is a PageProof Enterprise feature, and this lets you organize your comments by adding one or multiple labels to your comments. So the idea here is that, hey, we've got comments that have been placed, and we might have a whole lot of comments on a proof, and people are able to go through, and your proof owners can do this and say, this one should be for the copywriter. This one, for example, is high priority. This one is low priority. So you can actually go and put labels onto each comment, and then people can sort by those labels and just see the ones that match the labels. So really, really great way of organizing your comments. Now, for the team administrators, they can come in, switch labels on. If you PageProof Enterprise, just come in, switch labels on, and then you can go through and add the labels that you want for your team. And we've even got here some suggestions as well. Like if you're just getting started with the labels and you're not sure, well, what sort of labels would I want? Click on suggestions, and we'll give you some suggestions of some labels that you could add to your team. And then when you go in and make comments, well, people make comments in their proofs, they can put labels on. So let's take a look at the comment labels and how they work. So, okay, where is it? Okay, so under features, so team admin, you go to features, and you'll see labels down the bottom here of features now, and that's where you switch it on. So you saw the screen here, and when you go and add a new label, this is where you get the suggestions and things. So you can just click on suggestions and then just add those in to your team. Now, what that looks like is in reality when you go in and actually add comments. So I'm going to grab my pen tool here, and let's see, I'll just put a comment on here. So I'll say make larger. And when I add that comment on, then you'll see that up the top here, there is the ability to put one of the labels on here. So I can say, actually, this is a design change, and it's also high priority. So what we're doing now is adding these labels into the comments. And later on down the track, people are able to go through and they can categorize or essentially list by those labels. So if I come in and add another one, we'll come in and say make red, for example, add that on. This one here is going to be just a design change. So you can see I can do that. Now, up the top in the sorting area, up here under labels, you can say, look, I just want to sort by high priority, and it's only going to show you a list of the comments which have a high priority label on them. So you can go and do that inside here, which is super useful. And you can do multi-selects if you want to as well. So you can choose multiple labels to adjust this list. And then, of course, clearing the filter just means that everything shows. So labels, absolutely brilliant for going through and putting them onto your comments, and then having the people have the ability to go through and say, hey, sort it by here. Good example of a use case, copywriter changes. So you can go through and add a, copywriter. You may even say this one's for the retoucher. So you can label these comments with the areas that you want people to focus on. So lots of different use cases. I'm sure you'll come up with whatever business needs drive exactly what you want inside using the comment labels. So they are there for PageProof Enterprise customers to take advantage of. Okay, PageProof desktop applications. So what we've done is just released a new set of new versions of PageProof desktop apps. And the great thing with these is, essentially what we've done is put PageProof into an app that goes into your Mac or your PC. You can download this application from your App Store or the Windows App Store, run the application. And the great thing here is, This is this allows you to run PageProof in an app, and it gives you extra features from the operating system. So, for example, if you're running PageProof Desktop and you're sitting inside of things like iPhoto, for example, and you want to send something out for proofing, you can literally from inside iPhoto go share to PageProof, and it will start the proofing process. Or you might have some files on your desktop, and you think, you know what, I'd like to get these proofed. You can just drag and drop them onto the PageProof icon in the dock, and that will then set up the proofing screen and get you underway with that. So there's a whole lot of features which the PageProof desktop apps bring, including the web plugins for proofing. So if you are not able to install a Chrome plugin to do URL proofing, you can install the PageProof desktop app, and it has the plugins built in, so you can do your website proofing and things without having to install a Chrome extension or a Firefox extension. So those are other reasons that you would do that. And then opening links as well. So if you are working inside of, you get an email and you would prefer to have it open inside of a page, inside of your desktop app, you can go to your settings and say, open all my PageProof URLs inside the desktop app, and it will do that for you as well. So lots of advantages, and we've got a list of extra features that we're going to be adding into the desktop apps, including notifications and all sorts of wonderful things that desktop apps bring as an advantage. So that's the PageProof desktop apps, available on the Mac App Store and the Windows App Store, available now. They've just been updated, and really, really great way to experience PageProof inside of your favorite desktop operating system. So there you have it. Integrations for video editors and designers. So we looked at our integrations, and as you know, or may not know, PageProof has the most integrations seen for any online proofing platform. We have native plugins for a huge range of desktop apps and online apps as well. So I'm going to do a list. Really sorry about this, but we're going to go through the list. So Adobe Creative Cloud. So we've got InDesign, Illustrator, Photoshop, Premiere Pro, After Effects. All of those desktop apps are covered. You get a native plugin inside of, or a native panel inside of those tools, where you can create proofs and you can bring changes back in to those desktop apps. So you never need to leave the desktop app. You can stay inside of InDesign all day and do your proofing, get your changes back, new versions. Wonderful. We do the same for Microsoft Office. So your Word, Excel, and PowerPoint. Again, there's a panel, native panel built into those products. You install it from the Windows Microsoft Office App Store. And this gives you the ability, again, to create proofs, bring changes back. Then we went into the space of Figma. So if you are a heavy Figma user, PageProof has a native Figma plugin. So a lot of people don't know that, but you can send out proofs from Figma in different varying formats. You can bring changes back in. You can see what those changes are. You can manage all your proofing inside of Figma as well. Canva's covered, and it just goes on. So we've also had Final Cut Pro for anyone doing video editing. Of course, we've got a whole lot working inside of those applications, but there were two that we thought it'd be really great to add these in, and we saw that DaVinci Resolve was being used. DaVinci Resolve Studio particularly was being used by a lot of people to create video work. So DaVinci Resolve now has a native plugin, and Quark Express. So if you're like me, the history of desktop publishing, if we call it that, Quark Express was in that narrative back in the day. It's still heavily used. And that was something that we thought, there are Quark Express users out there. We can give them a native plugin, just like they can have an InDesign. So Quark Express is now supported. So DaVinci Resolve Studio, the panel here, it looks very, very similar to a standard PageProof plugin. It's written for the application, and you can see all of your proofs over on the left-hand side. And when you click into the proof, it shows you all the comments on the right-hand side. And you can see, you can mark these off as done and click into them, and it jumps the timeline and all those wonderful things inside of here. You can upload proofs from directly inside of here. So if you want to create a proof, there's a button down the bottom, just go create proof, and it will send the proof directly out of DaVinci Resolve Studio. And again, you can bring the changes back in. So that is the native plugin for DaVinci Resolve Studio. You do need to have the Studio edition in order to take advantage of that plugin. Now, the second one, Quack Express. Now, you'll notice that there's a trend going on here with the way that our plugins look. The great thing about this is it's the same layout as all of the other PageProof plugins, because as you're jumping between applications, we want you to be familiar with how these work. And you can see here, again, left-hand side shows you the proofs that you've got in play. And then over on the right-hand side, here are all the comments. And this will, again, click into each comment. You can mark them as done. You can upload new versions. You can create proofs from here. That's all functionality available inside of Quack Express. So if you are a Quack Express user, woohoo, now you have a plugin. So there's the PageProof plugin covering absolutely everything now. Okay, so integration's also got some enhancements and a new one as well. So marketing creative teams. Now, Monday.com, we did quite a big enhancement for Monday.com, and that was embedding PageProof inside of Monday.com. So this is something that we worked on because we felt that it gave the best experience for someone working inside of Monday. So you've got the ability now to create proofs from inside of Monday and view your proofs inside of Monday as well. So all of that functionality is now built in, and I'll show you that in a demo. And then the second one is Jira. We've had so many people ask us for Jira. We were like, okay, let's do it. So Jira is now supported as a native PageProof integration. We're not using any sort of third-party tool or any sort of strange bots or anything. It is a native PageProof plugin right into the platform. So it's right there, and I'll show you that in a moment as well. But firstly, the Monday one. So let's jump in and take a look at what the enhancements were inside of Monday.com. So here I am inside of my design board, my creative production board, and I click into my view here, and this shows me, hey, this is all the information. I want to create a proof from inside of my Monday.com item. So I'm in the PageProof item view. If I click on Create Proof, it just comes up and says, hey, here are the settings that I'm going to carry across from Monday. So this is really great. I don't need to go through and rekey any of this information. It pulls it all over from Monday. And I can use this file, which is embedded. But I will give you a little tip, actually. Over on the side here, the little 3 dots, if you click here, you can see that you can create an email proof, a website proof, and a new feature here, which is choose from the setup screen. So this might be that you want to create a proof connecting it to Monday, but you don't want to use the files inside of the Monday files column. You just want to take a file off your desktop. So you can do that now inside this new enhancement. So if I choose on setup screen, okay, and then click create, you'll see it pops open inside of Monday. So this is actually opening up inside of Monday. We haven't gone to another page or anything like that. And all I do here is just say, look, I just want to grab a file from my computer, and I can create my proof directly from inside of here. Boom. Simple as that. Really easy. So this interface is all embedded inside of Monday.com. And you've got all of the features that you would have. It's no different than anything that you would do over on the PageProof website or PageProof app. It's embedded. And then when you want to open a proof inside of Monday, it'll just open up directly inside of here. So you can send out proofs, create collections, do everything you want to do from inside of Monday without having to leave, which is really, really useful. So if I go back now and take a look at the overview, we want to open a proof from inside of here, for example. So if we look at any of these proofs, and I want to open it up, just click on here. Again, inside of Monday, we've not left Monday. We are inside, it's embedded directly inside of here. So you can see here is my proofing, my ability to go through and do all the things I normally do inside of Monday. So there we have it. That's the embedding inside of Monday.com, which is super useful and really, really great for those people that are using Monday heavily. Now you don't need to leave Monday. And you can upload files that are bigger than 512 megabytes because we're not limited by the Monday column size. You can just grab files from your computer. You can grab files from Dropbox or Box or Google Drive or OneDrive and have those go through and get loaded via your Monday interface. Okay, next thing we're going to take a look at. So I'm going to show you the new add-on that we've got here, the new integration, which is with Jira. So what we've done with Jira is we've connected PageProof and Jira together. And what it does, it gives you a reference option inside of here. So you can see all our integrations that we work with. And down the bottom here, if you've switched this on, again, team admins can do this. If you switch on the Jira integration and connect it, you now get a Jira option in your PageProof setup screen. And for those that are familiar with Jira, all you need to do when you go in here is go, yes, I want to choose Jira. I want to connect it to an issue, and you just use your issue number. So for example, I can just go PP, 10413, for example. It's going to then show me there is the task inside of Jira. So I connect it, and there you get the connection over to that Jira task. So super simple. It just connects it up. And the great thing about this is that when you actually go over and take a look inside of Jira, so I jump inside of here, you can see we've got a PageProof panel here giving us a pop-up and showing us, we can jump straight to the proof directly from inside of here. And then down inside of the activity, what we've done is created this issue here where you can go through now and actually see all of the updates and notifications and bits and pieces will show up inside of this activity down the bottom here. So as you go through and put this proof through its life cycle, this information will update directly inside of Jira, so everybody can see what's going on with the proofing without having to leave Jira. You can just stay in here and do all of that, have all that information coming through. So this is showing you some of the features or some of the things you can do now with PageProof and Jira together, and really helps those teams that have do a lot of their marketing planning and all that sort of thing inside of Jira. And if you do a lot of web design, you can do a lot of web, you can do issues and things. So you use the web proofing, and then you can also track all the issues and everything inside of Jira and connect them to proofs so that you can track everything all in one place. So that is the Jira integration for PageProof. So it's new, it's there, and all you need is a team admin in PageProof, someone who's an admin in Jira. They can connect them at the account level, and then you have the ability to use it inside of your PageProof and Jira workspaces, which is super useful. So take advantage of that integration. It's super, super great. Okay, let's jump now to the next thing. PageProof Intelligence. So you knew I was coming to this part. So PageProof Intelligence has been a huge thing inside of PageProof. You can go in and see the sort of history of us working on intelligence features going back, 18 months, a couple of years now. But what we've really done now is put everything into this. You can see this little icon here. This shows up inside of PageProof. You've got intelligence right next to you inside the screen that you're looking at. So PageProof Intelligence, we have released previously, PageProof Intelligence on the dashboard to help you make sense of your inbox or whichever part of your dashboard you're looking at. So it gave great insights for that. Also, PageProof Intelligence in your reporting screen. And we've had amazing feedback from customers on that because, if you look at a whole lot of report results and you're like, oh my gosh, how do I summarize this for my manager? Just click on PageProof Intelligence. It'll summarize it in a manager-friendly way, and you can just copy and paste that out of there and put it into your report, and you got the rest of your day back. So some really great features and great uses of PageProof Intelligence, and we really took it to the next level with AI-suggested markup and PageProof Intelligence agents. So I'll talk a little bit about this right now and show you a little bit of a demo on how this all works. But what we've done is made PageProof agentic. So we've said, okay, look, people are going to want commenting and feedback on their proofs. So let's do that. So we did. We said, hey, you can, when you upload a proof, you can switch on PageProof Intelligence, and you can even now say, hey, give me commenting as well. So let's have a quick look at that. If I go in and take a look at the proof setup screen inside of PageProof, I'm going to come in here and say, let's create a new proof. And go to the proof setup screen. Down the bottom here, you'll see I've got Pi Insights. So if I click on Pi Insights, it then rolls down and says, hey, do you want me to comment on this as well? You're like, well, that seems great. So you can switch on Pi Comments. And what that's going to do is not only are you going to get PageProof Intelligence insights about your proof, you've now got PageProof Intelligence commenting on your proof. And it's absolute magic. It goes through and it can say, there's a spelling mistake here. This doesn't look right. This is that. So it puts comments on your proof, which is super useful. So what you end up with, once you upload your proof, you'll see the pie icon down here at the bottom of the screen. When you click onto that pie icon, you'll get this intelligence panel, which tells you things that it's found on your proof. So really, really useful, critical brand and copy issues. And you can see it's actually listed them all down here. So it's showing me a whole lot of things which I need to deal with. And I can copy and paste those out if I want to. So that's PageProof Intelligence. And this is what we call Pie Insights. This panel, as we said, shows insights on the dashboard and reporting screen and now inside the proofing screen. So that's great. That's step one. Now, there was that other little checkbox that I pressed, which was, if you remember this one down here, add pie comments. What does that do? Well, over here, you'll see 3 comments have been added. And if I open up this panel, those 3 comments, they've been added by PageProof Intelligence. So these are not comments added by any of my team members. It's been added by PageProof Intelligence. And it's even marked up the proof. So if I look here and click, you can see it's actually put a comment and marked it up on the proof and telling me, hey, this exterior box gradient matches doesn't match the green on the outer frame. And it's absolutely right. If I look at that, there's a different green being used here. This copy up the top, it says, look, you need to rewrite this. This is not correct. So yes, it's correct about that. And then down here, it's telling me, hey, this is not using the brand font. It's saying this is not, up to the standards that we want for your work. So PageProof Intelligence can go through and do so many things on your proofs. It can go through and do things like, look at your brand guidelines and all that sort of stuff when it comes to the agents, which was the next thing I was going to cover off. So let me jump in and take a look here. So we added as an extra to this. So what you just saw there was the AI suggested markup. So you can put markup on your proofs. That's available on PageProof for Teams Plus and Enterprise. So those 2 plans can get the markup and commenting on their proofing, which is magic. Now we've gone an extra step. We looked at it and said, well, if it's commenting on my work, wouldn't it be great if it could, adhere to my brand guidelines and point out things which were, the wrong colors or the right fonts and this isn't our tone of language. It's not quite right for that. Or if you're in the packaging space, wouldn't it be really great if PageProof knew our packaging specs for my company and actually pointed out things on our packaging which don't adhere to the standards that we have? And, like you can see here, social media rules, actually, the list goes on. This is wide open. And in fact, some early adopters of PageProof have actually put in some what we call Pie agents, so PageProof Intelligent Agents. And these agents are checking their work every day for them, and it's saved them so much time. They are now cutting down the number of versions. They are getting a massive benefit out of having PageProof Intelligence checking the work against an agent. So an agent, agents are available on PageProof Enterprise, and you can work with our team to define an agent or multiple agents to go through and check your work against your specific guidelines, rules, language, legal terms. As you can imagine, it just goes on and on. Now, we even did things we actually found out. We didn't know this, but we found out that you can even tell the agent to check different languages, translations. It can even comment in a different language. It's quite extraordinary. So I'll give you just a little hint of what that looks like. So on my dashboard here, I actually have a Pi agent that was created and it only speaks French. So you can see here it's commenting in French on my work. So you can define the agent to do whatever you like. And the fantastic thing about them is they're completely customizable, completely over to you, and they are suggesting and commenting and giving you markup on your proofs tailored to exactly what you want. So PageProof Intelligence, Pi agents available today. You can talk to us and get the Pi agents into your account. If you're PageProof Enterprise, And you get one agent included in your enterprise license, so you don't even need to pay for it. There's one there for you to use straight away. And if you want additional agents, there is a fee for that. But look, take advantage of that one agent that you've got for free included in your PageProof enterprise license. Now, how is this all paid for? Well, PageProof, and also we have released Pi credits. So Pi credits are PageProof Intelligence credits. This is where you can purchase credits because intelligence does consume credits. Okay, so you can see here we have the ability now, if you have turned on PageProof Intelligence, you've agreed to the terms and conditions, and that's one very important point. If you are a new customer to PageProof, PageProof Intelligence is switched off by default. You need to switch it on and opt in. Covers, it's very, I'll go through those security details but in a moment. But then you get this PageProof Intelligence panel here, which goes through and allows you to monitor your credits. And then you can also buy credits as well, just by clicking on the buy credits here, and we'll add those in. Now, every month we give you free credits. They go and resets back to the amount you get. So PageProof for Teams, you get 250 credits free each month. So if you use those, it'll top back up to 250. PageProof for Teams Plus, you get 500 credits. And if you're an enterprise customer, you get 1,000 free credits every month. Just gets chopped back up to 1,000. If you want more credits, you can come into a team admin, can go into your settings, and they can purchase more credits for use. Now, how many credits does PageProof Intelligence use? Well, a good example for just a guideline, because it does vary, but just a good guideline, if you're looking at an A4 page or a US letter page, for doing intelligence and markup on that, that would use between 1 and 3 credits to actually do all the intelligence and work on it. So you can do a lot inside of a month on the free credits. But again, it depends on consumption and it depends on the things that you're doing. But those credits are now available in product for you to purchase if you need them. Okay, other feature enhancements. So I'm just going to talk over these rather than show you through these. But we enhanced the German translation. That's now been improved. The team worked hard to get that translation as up to date as possible. When you're inside a PageProof collection, so if you go inside of a collection, there's a file dropper there if you've got the ability to add proofs. Now you can do multiple proofs at once. Previously, it was just one at a time. Now you can do multiple proofs into a collection at once, which is super cool. Collections now have a little 3-dot menu in the top corner of the preview pane, and you have a quick action menu. So look out for that, because you can very quickly get things done without having to jump between different screens. So all your management features are available if you are the owner of that collection. And the comment filtering has had some enhancements as well. You saw the labels, we added those, and there's some other features in comment filtering. So if you really work in comments, check out the comment filtering enhancements that we've put in there as well. Hover cards over the top of, so if you're looking at a workflow and you hover over a user, a little hover card will pop up now and you have the information there. Previously, you had to click and it went to another screen and then you had to come back. Don't do that anymore. Now you can just go to the hover card, just hover over the email address or the name of the person, and it'll pop up a little hover card. You can copy email out of there or whatever you want to do. So that's all done. And a couple of bulk features have been enhanced as well. So you want to withdraw the approval on multiple proofs. So if someone's approved 20 proofs and you're like, oh no, actually they shouldn't have, you can now bulk undo that approval across multiple proofs. So that's really good. And then reopening multiple archive proofs. So if you archived again, you might have archived 10 proofs and you're like, oh, actually I want them back into production. So now you can multi-select them and unarchive them all at once. So some really great uses there if you wanted as well. So next thing, what's coming up? So this is where product looks at me and says, why are you telling everyone this? Well, it's a good thing, right? So what's coming soon? Of course, with collections, people have said to us, hey, it's great having a folder and a collection and, that's great. But wouldn't it be amazing to be able to go sub-collection, sub-collection, sub-collection? And we're working on it. It's coming soon. So you will be able to have a collection inside of a collection with proofs and all that sort of thing. So collections are being rewritten and be released this quarter, the next quarter coming up. Fantastic change to PageProof and a really, really big thing. And it's going to also bring some new navigation as well. We're enhancing it to make sure that collections are now the way that people expect them to be. There's also a new dashboard design coming. We're not going to throw you into a whole new dashboard. We're going to essentially roll out a new look, some new features, and really enhance the existing dashboard to really lift its game for you all, which is going to be a great thing. So those are all coming in the next quarter. So you can look forward to those. And then next week, we are at Creative Pro Week in the United States. And there's a huge announcement actually coming that we're going to be releasing on stage at Creative Pro Week. But hey, I don't think anyone's looking. I can show you this now. So what I'd love to actually talk to you about is, as you can see, I've got the PageProof Intelligence and InDesign icons here. Next week, we're going to be announcing to the world the ability for you to use PageProof Intelligence inside InDesign. And what I want to do is quickly show you what that looks like. So let's jump into InDesign and have a quick talk about what that means. So this is here I'm inside of InDesign, and you can see here is my PageProof panel inside here. And you'll notice down the bottom, there is a PageProof Intelligence icon down here now. And this, again, when I click into it, it's going to open up PageProof Intelligence. So you can see here is my PageProof Intelligence panel. And what we've done is we've brought the agents to InDesign so you can pre-proof things without having to send out a proof. So you can actually send this piece of work to a PageProof Intelligence agent. It can check it against all of the things that you want to check it against, and then give you feedback inside of here before you send out a proof to your reviewers. Okay, so what does this look like? So here you can see it shows all the agents that you have defined in your account. So you can have a brand agent, you might have a legal agent, you might have whatever you want. You can create your own agents for checking your work. You click on review, and what it does is it gives you insights into what it thinks you should change or look at inside of here. So you can see this is the intelligence on this particular InDesign file. So it's gone through and it's found there are spelling errors, there's non-brand fonts being used, inconsistent green colors, copy to rule spacing is a bit wrong. There's all sorts of great insights it's giving me before I send this proof out to my team. So this is PageProof Intelligence pre-proofing, and it lets you check and change your work before you send your proofs out. It's absolutely incredible. And what this does is it means that as a designer, you're now catching the things that you may have overlooked before you send it out as a proof to the rest of your organization or to your customers even. So you can catch things and you look really great. This is the whole thing about PageProof Intelligence inside of InDesign. The pre-proofing is really great for designers because you can check things before it goes out. So as you can see, it's going through and giving me feedback about it when I see something, or see something here that we want to actually just one moment. So when we see something that we want to jump to, just click on the link here and it jumps us to the page where that issue is showing. You can correct it and it just goes through. This is really fantastic. So PageProof Intelligence giving us pre-proofing inside of your InDesign. Now, of course, a lot of you are thinking, well, that'd be great inside of other tools as well. So what about Illustrator? What about Figma? What about Canva? What about yes, and yes? We are bringing PageProof Intelligence Pi agents to all of the design tools over time. So we're starting in InDesign, but you can be rest assured we are going to bring PageProof Intelligence to all of the design tools so you can pre-proof before you send your proofs out. So it's a major announcement. Again, we're going to have a lot of fanfare next week, but I thought I'd give you guys all a look at it so you can see what PageProof Intelligence is going to bring to your designers and the users of, in this case, InDesign straight away. And if you've got agents set up inside of your PageProof account, again, you just choose the agent from the menu and hit review, and you get the feedback, and you can correct it before it goes out. So there we have it. That is what's coming next week as a big announcement. You've had a sneak preview, and it will come to a lot of other design tools in the future. And we're going to do that pretty quickly. So you'll see that come through. Okay. All right. So lastly, we've gone through this and you're like, wow, that was a lot. And I agree, it was a lot. But if you want to keep up to date with what we do every day, and we release daily, every 2 or 3 days maybe, you can actually track what we're doing inside of your PageProof account. So if you go to the main menu, you'll see there is a new features menu item here. If you choose that, we update that as we release new features. So you don't have to wait till the end of the quarter to get the summary. You can actually go in and take a look at that new features area inside of PageProof every day if you want to. But we're releasing constantly, so you'll see the changes coming through, and you'll get the enhancements of PageProof as we release them. So that's just in your main menu from the top right of the screen, and you'll see new features, and we've got a history there as well, so you can go back and take a look at anything else that might be that you might have missed. So that is our roundup for today. So all right, well, thank you very much, everybody. Really appreciate you taking the time, and we'll talk to you very, very soon. Thanks, everyone.